So now, and of course, this is all editable, right? You guys.
Oh yeah,
Very much editable.
If I bite my lip, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my story is unique. I grew up in Chicago, and I did my undergraduate at the University of Chicago, and I did my medical school at the University of Chicago, and I went on and had a really successful residency at Stanford University and became a vascular surgeon and someone who's been very successful in vascular center development. About 3-4 years ago, I realized that while I had a great business understanding, I thought, it never really was a package. And I think that, I remember it vividly. I was sitting on an airplane going on a vacation, and I grabbed United Airlines magazine, and my kids were in the back of the plane making all this noise. I started going through the pages, and I saw this big blue and orange sign that said, Physician Executive MBA, and that was it. I just locked in on those colors, and I said, I think I need my MBA. And there's a lot of opportunities for executive MBAs, but what made Auburn really unique for me was, A, it had been a part of the country which I had never lived in or visited, never a place I had gone to school at, and it was a physician executive MBA where I knew my classmates would all be like me, physicians, maybe at different stages of their career, but they'd all be physicians and we would have a common language being physicians. And so I think that was the highlight and what drew me to Auburn. And for me personally now as I graduate, really this MBA has given me pretty much a solidification of all my business skills into 3 letters, and that is my MBA. And I really feel that that will help me as I navigate the changes in my practice, in my medical group, and in my own career.
Did you know anything about Auburn before seeing the advertisement?
What I knew about Auburn was Bo Jackson, football, and the SEC. Because there really is no medical school here, and from a medical perspective, as I went through my career, it was not a place that I looked at for medical knowledge. Business school I had heard of was very well established in the executive programs, but I really did not know about the Physician Executive MBA until I grabbed that magazine.
Dan Gropper, he had kind of joked that when we were trying to identify students that would be, that we should talk to, he said, yeah, I think it's great that he finally has that academic legitimacy with that Auburn degree on top of Stanford and Chicago. So I know that they're certainly very excited to have had you as part of the program, and certainly look upon your achievement with pride too. But that's something that's been interesting to me is that you see a lot of folks that their backgrounds they have connections to Stanford or an Emory, places that are very well regarded, and we're glad that they see value in what's being provided at Auburn. Sure. I was curious too, what do you feel as though some of the more significant takeaways are from your involvement in the program?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. While this is a physician executive MBA, and we got the basics of business law, we get the basics on change and how to lead organizations, and the basic fundamentals of the MBA program. I think one of the real highlights was the whole working with my fellow physicians. And I think when you get 40 physicians together who are at different stages of our career, who have different experiences from different backgrounds, different education, different specialties, and putting them together to work on projects together, I think healthcare in this country is at a crucial juncture in change. And I think the kind of thinking and planning and the thoughts that I've learned in this MBA program with my peers, with those programs, with those projects, I think has really been the highlight.
What would you tell a potential student who's maybe considering Auburn for the PIMBA program, as far as why they should maybe consider taking that step? What are some of the advantages that maybe you see about?
I think any program, the effort you put into it is what you get out of it. And I think Auburn and the physician executive program, what it is today, will be very different in 3 to 5 years. And I think the most important thing is that I think the opportunity to learn with physicians in a very favorable environment, in an environment that's accommodating to your schedule, that gives you the core values of business, and gives you the opportunity for international travel, gives you the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., where all the thinking for healthcare policy is happening right now as we speak. I think putting that all into a 21-month rotation really positions physicians to be leaders in their local communities, in their regions, and in national environments.
You also mentioned kind of I don't know how this will tie in or if it will very much, but they're actually looking at starting a medical clinic, sort of, I guess, a model that Virginia Tech's used. So I guess there might even be some potential partnership there, but it's definitely an exciting time. And as you said, it's the industry is definitely at a crossroads.
Absolutely.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I was curious too, just what prompted your interest in a career in medicine, and why vascular surgery?
So, growing up in Chicago after coming from India at the age of 2, medicine is very strong in the Indian culture, and my mother had kind of always identified me as somebody who she thought academically I could go on to becoming a doctor in this country. And sure enough, through high school and then at the undergraduate level at the University of Chicago, I was accepted to medical school there. And my whole career really changed also with a simple wall posting. I saw a research ad for vascular surgery research as a sophomore undergraduate at the University of Chicago. And I called up the professors and they said, well, you're a medical student. I said, no, I'm really just an undergraduate. And they said, well, we really prefer people who have a little bit more medical knowledge. I said, well, give me a chance. And sure enough, one thing led to another. They gave me a summer opportunity to work in that laboratory, and the principal investigator was a vascular surgeon. And him and I really gelled very well. It was really for me a great scene to see how a vascular surgeon handles his practice, his research, his whole program. And I was really privileged to have that relationship with my mentor. And when I started medical school, it was very clear to me that vascular surgery was my calling, vascular surgery was my career. And that led to my residency at Stanford and subsequently my career in vascular surgery at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation.
Can you tell me a little bit about your practice, and also, in being a chief and also a director, like how many different individuals do you oversee, and I guess in terms of just the management side of it, that seems like that encompasses quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really a fortunate opportunity that I have. So I live in a great part of America in the Bay Area, and I work for a 800 physician medical group. And when you have 800 physicians working together, so you can do some amazing things. In terms of our vascular center, which is now called the Robert L. Mitchell Vascular Center, named after a very famous cardiovascular surgeon in the community, I oversee most aspects of the vascular practice in that 800 physician group. I spearhead the whole regional vascular program. In terms of my practice is 4 doctors and about 15 staff members, and we're probably one of the busier vascular practices in Northern California. I kind of say that's my left foot. My right foot is that I'm a leader also at the local hospital in vascular specialties and vascular care. And so balancing a very busy practice with some good staff and great programs of excellence, and at the same time having a reputation in the community at the local hospital where I have administrative duties. Those 2 tiers were really kind of occupying a fair part of my life. And of course the MBA has now kind of helped me solidify my opportunities in both of those programs.
I have to ask, as a senior professional profile and all, Team USA field hockey, how did that relationship come about, and has it kind of crossed into other Olympic level sports now?
Yeah, that's another story. So that goes also back to my days in Chicago. It was the summer of 1984, and I was living around and lounging around the house as a high school junior, and my dad looked at me and said, "What are you doing this summer?" And I really had no plans, just lounging around, and he said, "Well, the summer games are happening in Los Angeles, and your uncle lives there. Why don't you go land in Los Angeles and go and spend a week there and learn something about the Olympics?" And so I landed there, and I was thinking, I'm going to see track and field, and I'm going to see basketball, USA, the men's team, and my uncle picked me up, and he gave me a stack of field hockey tickets. Now, I'm an ice hockey fan in 1984. In Chicago, that's all really we had was ice hockey. And I spent the next 10 days watching unlimited amounts of field hockey. But anyways, put that forward now. My passion for hockey has always been there. My children have all played field hockey. I've been really instrumental in growing youth field hockey in the Bay Area at Stanford University. And then that led to my calling from the USA Field Hockey Board to become a board member. I'm very actively involved in the growth of the sport in America. But yes, I'm a real Olympic junkie. I'm an officially trained U.S. sports medicine doctor for the national teams. I've worked at USA gymnastics events, USA figure skating events, USA field hockey events. And more recently now I have become the first U.S. Olympic Committee diversity champion in America. And this will be pretty much a pretty long-term investment on my part to help grow diversity in the U.S. Olympic Committee. And that'll happen at the leadership level with diverse leaders coming from diverse ethnic and religious backgrounds, and at the same time diversity in the athletes. We want to see sports that are predominantly Caucasian sports now have more diverse athletes, because I think ultimately the USOC and the U.S. Olympic Committee is really committed to having Team USA really reflect America and the diversity in America. So I'm very happy to be a part of that. I think as my professional career winds down in the near future, I think I'd love to see my U.S. Olympic Committee work continue.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm an Olympic junkie too. I was in sports journalism before I migrated into public relations and covered 2 Olympic Games. And I actually have a niece who's playing college field hockey right now. So definitely. So did you grow up a Blackhawks fan then?
Yeah, I grew up a big Blackhawks fan until I saw Wayne Gretzky play, and then I realized, that guy can play hockey. So yeah, I definitely was an Edmonton Oilers fan for a while.
Now, were you ever, I guess, an ice hockey or field hockey player?
Yeah, no, I never played it at that level that my children will play it. But for me, being a first-generation Indian, really the focus was academics and getting to a good university and focusing on that. And for me at that time, juggling both really well would be very difficult. Now I think kids today can juggle academics and athletics very well, and society accommodated us a little bit better back then compared to back in the 1980s.
Do you have any other medical professionals in the family, or are you kind of, I guess, a trailblazer?
Yeah, in my particular family, I'm the first physician. Now, I'm married to a physician. My wife is also in the PEMBA program. She's the year after me. And so she is here, and she's graduating next year. And she's a psychiatrist. And what happened really is she went on the European trip this summer with our class. She really got excited about the business knowledge that was being discussed amongst my classmates, and came back from that trip and said, I think I'd like to go for my executive MBA also. So she's in the class, and her family has all physicians in the background.
What is your wife's name?
Simran, S-I-M-R-A-N. S-I-N-G-H.
And let's see, did she, as far as like undergrad and all of that?
So she did all her undergrad and med school in India, and then did her residency at Stanford.
Oh, great. And I want to say, I can't remember if it was on the Medical Foundation website. It might have been a press release, but something that jumped out is that you had, I guess, done some work with U.S. soldiers in Germany, maybe? Is that something that's occurred more frequently, or?
Yeah, I've always had an interest. Obviously, when you talk about the Olympics, you get national pride, and when you have an opportunity to help wounded warriors, that was an amazing opportunity. The Society for Vascular Surgery, which is the biggest organization for vascular surgeons, has a rotation where vascular surgeons electively will give up 2 weeks of their time, their practice, to go off and work in Landstuhl, Germany, at the largest military hospital outside of America, in Germany, where a lot of our wounded warriors from Iraq and Afghanistan will come. And there's always been a shortage of vascular surgeons. Well, there's a shortage of vascular surgeons in America, but there's also a shortage of vascular surgeons for wartime battles and injuries that happen in war. And Landstuhl Regional Medical Center needed vascular surgeons. And so the Society of Vascular Surgery gives vascular surgeons the opportunity to spend 2 weeks there. And so in October of 2011, I spent 2 weeks in Germany working with our medical teams based there, and of course doing vascular surgical procedures there.
That's fantastic.
And the opportunity to do that again, absolutely, now with some free time opening up with this program ending, I'm sure that opportunity I will look at again.
Well, that was one of my questions too. How difficult is it to just balance the demands of the program on top of all of the professional obligations, the family obligations, everything else?
Yeah, when you come into this program, that's the first thing you worry about. And I will tell you that the program itself is demanding. There's required a fair amount of time. And it's chiseling into time, which is usually family time, social time, recreation time. So I will say that if you have a lot of interests, outside of the hospital, outside of your practice, and you have a busy practice, then you're really going to have to manage your time very well. You're going to have to budget. You're going to have to be in a mindset that recreation, free time, hobbies that you've had will, for this short period, have to take a back seat. Now, having said that, if you're really organized and you can manage, you've got a supportive structure at home with your spouse, your children are understanding, and in my particular case, my department, my whole department, every single one of my staff members has stepped up. My partners have taken a lot of extra responsibilities off my hands, and really assembling a team to get me through this really was probably the best thing I could have done.
That's great. And you mentioned having children and all, are they kind of spread out in age or?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. I've got 3 boys. I've got a 16-year-old boy who's now going to start his junior year in high school. I've got a 14-year-old boy who is starting high school this fall, and I have a 11-year-old son who's still in elementary school.
So they're involved in sports too? And
yeah, music, sports, and
wow.
business. All 3 of them have some kind of
Oh,
a
that's
business
great.
background. Not a single one of them has shown any interest in medicine. So I think the MBA has rubbed off on them. Mom and dad getting MBAs, maybe that's
Absolutely.
the way to go.
So what sort of business interests do they have? I know that can change sometimes, but.
Yeah, I think if you watch them, and as I watch them develop, and they're obviously here with me, and I'm seeing a lot of them in this environment. The oldest one is very destined for sports business. I think that's really his natural calling. The middle one, if he's not working for Apple Computer, then we have, and he's excited because he's here in the home and the school where Tim Cook, his idol before it used to be Steve Jobs and now it's Tim Cook. So he's excited to be in Auburn territory. And then my youngest one, he's all about buying and selling anything he can find to buy and sell. So I'm sure he'll find a niche.
Well, we hope some of them will wind up at Auburn. Yeah, that's, we hope we make a good impression on you.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic. Anything else you think I left out or anything?
I guess for the video, maybe, what do you take from the PIMBA program that, in particular, that you can apply to the rest of your professional career, and then possibly, why do you recommend this program to another professional just like you?
So as far as recommending the PIMBA program, I think this program has a track record now. It's been out there for a good 12 years. There's a great reputation of some graduates that have come out of this program that have gone on and become leaders in their healthcare organizations, leaders in the community. So I think anytime you're looking at a MBA program as a physician, you want to go to a program that's got a great track record. You want to have a program that's got flexibility. You want to have a program that you have confidence in, that you're going to get the basic material that's needed, that your efforts will be rewarded with knowledge that will help you succeed. And I can't emphasize it enough. The working relationship of the variety of graduates and classmates that come out of the Auburn program from across America really is a strength. And luckily, Atlanta is a big airport and it's a nearby airport, and so classmates will tend to come from all over America to get this knowledge, and I think that's the strength of this program. And your other question was about the...
what has this basically done for you professionally that you may not have had before?
Yeah. For me professionally, I came from a family that had a strong small business background, and sure enough, growing up in that environment, I learned the basics of business. I experienced that business growing up all the way till I started college. Then for the next 20 years, my focus has been medicine, but I've always had an interest in business, and I think what this program has done is it's given me the ways to chain up my knowledge in business and my knowledge in medicine and wrap a good solidification of those into one package. And so it's given me the sense that now I know why I do certain things, why I think certain things, why finance is this way, why micro and macroeconomics goes that way, what's the importance of sale and marketing and distribution. So all that knowledge now, based on what I thought I knew by self-learning or reading, really has been solidified by this program. And that'll serve me very well as I move forward into various leadership opportunities.
That's very good.
I need to get my brother-in-law to watch your interview. He was actually asking about the PIMBA program. He's at Carolina Medical Center in Charlotte, and that was one of his first questions: is how do I balance it with the hours I work and then the family time and all of that, so,
Yeah, you got to put a team together.
yeah.
You know, and that's one thing you learn about in an MBA program, making a team. When I committed to this in March, it started in August, so the next 5 months, I was really in the market to get my team, my staff, my partners, to say, hey, look, Tuesday night, it's not going to be me. Tuesday night is my PEMPA night, Thursday night is my PEMPA night, don't bother me.
Yeah.
You got someone dying, bother me. Run-of-the-mill things,
Right.
you're on your own. And that's very different, because they're used to having me around, and my staff is used to having bounce, but they kind of knew from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, don't bother him unless a real emergency is. You have to do that. And your wife and your children have to know that dad's, and that ended up being very good, because my kids are at that stage now where they're also academically very focused, and they saw me leaving the dinner table with a backpack. It's kind of like, maybe I should do that too. There's a lot of guilt going on. They'll hate it. They're kind of glad it's over, but no excuses.
Now, do they get a chance to explore